It's sad to think that for 30 plus years we just learned to live without it, right? That we just thought it was sort of the norm and it was part of a modern lifestyle, right? Is that you go into modernity and then you no longer get to see the sights out your window.
I've been thinking a lot about coronavirus and climate change.
I do think where climate and COVID are very, very similar is that there are probably ways that you could have invested a lot a long time ago and made dealing with this challenge far, far simpler. Climate is similar where if you let something like this come along and hit you before you're prepared, then the costs and the challenges can be monumental and maybe even insurmountable. And so I'm hoping that people start to think we can invest $2 trillion over the next 20 years and solve this problem rather than 4 trillion in a matter of a week and just run around with our heads falling off.
I do think that corona has been handled poorly by the government, and it's the same as climate change, just denial, until it becomes real in their eyes.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax. Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus, coronavirus. They are politicizing it. We did one of the great jobs, you see, House President Trump doing it. They have no clue. They don't have any clue. They can't even count their votes in Iowa. They can't even count. No, they can't. And this is their new hoax. I requested $2.5 billion to ensure we have the resources we need. And so far, we have lost nobody to coronavirus in the United States.
More than 100,000 people have died because of the coronavirus. That number in the U.S. is approaching 19,000.
This week has been especially brutal, and yesterday brought a terrible new total. More than 2,000 people dead from the disease in just one day.
And coronavirus and climate change both impact minorities and lower income families disproportionately.
In New York City, Hispanics represent the majority of deaths. In Milwaukee County, blacks are 25% of the population, but almost 50% of the cases and 75% of the deaths. So what's going on? Well, it's alarming, but it's not surprising that people of color have a greater burden of chronic health conditions. African Americans and Native Americans, develop high blood pressure at much younger ages. It's less likely to be under control and does greater harm to their organs. Puerto Ricans have higher rates of asthma, and black boys are 3 times as likely to die of asthma as their white counterparts.
The same companies that are warming the planet are also directly responsible for the underlying health conditions that make the coronavirus so dangerous to people.
Folks who have kids or relatives with asthma or heart disease or other things know all too well how potent air pollution is as a driver of health impacts. I mean, I do think that it's not really the clear views that will drive people to want to regulate air pollution as much as the safety of their family members.
So it makes me mad to see the government taking this pandemic as an opportunity to loosen regulations and tear apart more legislation than they already have.
To see, the administration going hard after environmental protections during a crisis, you think that maybe the need to get more masks to health professionals and ventilators to patients in need would be the focus. Of course, at the time when government action couldn't be more needed, we are fighting environmental protections that are actually helping to save lives. And last Thursday, there was an announcement that basically there's going to be a freeze on whether the enforcement of environmental regulations. Because of the pandemic, there's basically going to be a case-by-case basis on whether you have to adhere to any environmental regulation to allow for more air pollution and to allow for people to pollute right now, to endanger their surroundings in a time when we are all fighting together to make our surroundings healthier in any way that we can.
Newton is a predominantly liberal, wealthy city, the Garden City. They've made steps here in terms of climate change. We have clean parks, there was a plastic bag ban and a styrofoam ban, access to healthy food options. Students have participated in strikes and protests. We have several green organizations. We fought to save local woods. There's a push for clean solar energy, and we have a recycling program and a pilot composting program. But I sometimes think people here get complacent because they think they're doing enough.
9% of all the plastic ever manufactured has been recycled.
They were able to change the message and the mindset. It was you, the consumer, have the responsibility to solve this problem. Not we, the industry who produces the package, has the responsibility.
More than a third of the lifetime carbon dioxide emissions from an electric car comes through the energy used to make the car itself.
I think that the steps Newton has taken are great, but we all have to remain critical of everything we do. And I think that more than nitpicking everything we do, people need to come together to create collective change and push government and corporation to take responsibility for their actions and create positive social and environmental change.
First of all, we've been here before. We've been here before with the Great Depression. We've been here before with World War II, even the Cold War. And the answer has been an ambitious and directed mobilization of the American economy to direct and solve our problem, our biggest problem. And historically speaking, we have mobilized our entire economy around war. But I thought to myself, it doesn't have to be that way, especially when our greatest existential threat is climate change. And so to get us out of this situation, to revamp our economy, to create dignified jobs for working Americans, to guarantee healthcare and elevate our educational opportunities and attainment, we will have to mobilize our entire economy around saving ourselves and taking care of this planet.